which investors we reject and which we accept. I've written 18 books, published 18 books, I should say, and there's two major topics. One is the future of technology, and I've done podcasts on those topics for my books, and another is success. And this relates to who we accept as investors. I'll give you one example. So in one of my books, I have a chapter called The Power of No. The most successful people say no almost all the time. Mark Andreessen says that his day job is crushing entrepreneurs' dreams. The reason that very successful people say no all the time is not because they're sadistic, because if you're sadistic, you're not going to get very far in life. The key to getting far in life is creating more value in the marketplace. But it's important to have high standards. And people that have accomplished a lot go through all kinds of sacrifices, and they realize that most people are not willing to make hardly any sacrifices, much less the level of sacrifices they've made. So they have to reject them because people just want to get something for nothing. I mean, human nature is lazy and sometimes corrupt. So there has to be a countervailing force. And people that are very at a high level, they have to be that countervailing force. So another chapter I have is the top half manages up, down, and the bottom half manages up. Basically, people that have less in life, oftentimes they want to hold people that have a lot accountable, which is good. And then people that have a lot, they want to have the people that have less to give them the skills and attitudes so they can develop into more. So as this relates to our investors, we have to reject a lot of investors that just have conventional thinking and that are sheep and are following the crowd. Like a lot of people, to get really rich, you have to be early. Like you have to be able to. They say that the best way to understand the future is to invent it. If you don't have the roadmap and then the skills to execute it and the discipline, like they say that self-discipline is the master skill that makes all other skills possible. So entrepreneurs that can say no to people and just follow through on their agenda, but still be open to feedback of the market and product market fit and lean principles and MVP product, those are the people that succeed, because it's not the right product or idea that succeeds, although that is important. It's the ability to fit that idea to the market and change the idea so that it evolves. There's two schools of thinking. Like Henry Ford said that, he didn't ask people if they wanted cars because they would have wanted just faster horses. And Steve Jobs famously ridiculed focus groups because he says people don't know what they want. It's true that people don't always know what they want, but they know what they don't want. And that's an important thing. It's like you might have what you think is the best. So many people have gone through millions of dollars of product development and then launched a product that they don't want, like that famous scooter. I forget what it's called. That flopped. You have to be in tune with the marketplace, and the investors that we take on have to be in tune with convergence and where the world is going. Our company Exponentials is leveraging the paradigm shift from push technology, in which you have to go out and find your customers, to pull technology in which your customers find you. I have 4 videos linked to this in the cards section, so that as you're watching this video, you can find out the essence of that, of what we do. And it's revolutionary. I have to explain it just a little bit. I have a lot of podcasts and videos that explain it in more depth. I'm only going to spend like 2 to 4 minutes explaining it here. But basically, e-commerce tends to be a low return on investment industry because of customer acquisition costs. Customer acquisition costs are the major pain point in e-commerce. If you want to be successful in business and in life, you always have to attack pain points, because people are only going to spend their hard-earned money to get rid of some kind of pain. They say pain is actually a greater motivator than pleasure. People will spend money on pleasure and things that they want, but they'll spend even more money to get rid of pain. And in e-commerce, customer acquisition costs are the main sources of pain. So how does this play out? So most companies like Amazon is profitable now, but they're profitable because of Amazon Web Services, and they've added hardware and studio. But Amazon traditionally has lost money, years over years, and their domestic e-commerce basically is still not profitable, even 25 years later. They only have about 2% gross margins. Like, can you imagine Amazon, which has almost 50% market share? They've only figured out how to make 2% gross margins, and that's because they play to the wrong strengths. Like, you're not going to out Amazon. You're not going to compete with them on selection, on convenience, or price. Those three things. But all those three things are expensive. So, Amazon Prime, they don't break out the exact numbers, I don't believe, but it's a huge loss leader. The companies that have analyzed it, the analysts. So, yeah, it's kind of like the old saying, we lose money on every sale, but we make it up in volume. So Amazon does make money. I mean, like I said, in e-commerce, the domestic e-commerce has about 2% gross margins, but 2% gross margins is a laugh. I mean, we have over 40%, sometimes over 50% gross margins, and I'm going to explain a little bit how we do that. And then I'm going to go back to investors in terms of the ones we accept and the ones we reject. So Prime is a loss. Advertising is a huge expense for most e-commerce companies because in promotions and discounts, because what it is like you have to intrude on a customer's attention. Like in an information economy, attention is the greatest resource, and people just have ad blockers. People want to buy, they don't want to be sold. And that's the whole idea of the paradigm shift from a push economy, when you're trying to force your message on somebody and trying to intrude on them what they don't want, to a push economy where customers actually come to you. So how does that work? It works for us for inherent interest. Like, say, for example, you love your family. Does someone have to pay you $100, to spend time with your family if you love your family or your spouse or your dog or your kid, or kids? Like, do they have to get on television? Spend time with your kids and advertise, spend time with your kids, and go on the radio and advertise. No. Or if you love baseball cards, and you spend too much money on baseball cards, or if you love the Yankees, or if you love art, or if you love gardening, or if you love handbags, whatever it is, do people have to convince you to do your passions? Do they have to say, do they have to say, think about baseball cards, look over your collection? No, people do the things that they're inherently interested by nature. So we follow people's inherent interests. And basically, we're a personal discovery engine across different verticals that helps people naturally grow and develop and follow their passions in real time. What we do is we use artificial intelligence, and we use that to link content with e-commerce. So people come for the content. It's an aggregated content of fair use, so it's very high quality content and very high volume. See, that's hard to do because usually those are at odds with each other. Usually if you have high volume, you have low quality, and vice versa. So we figured out how to do both at basically no cost. I call that the trifecta of monetization. And I've explained it. I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true, but if you follow the model, you'll understand. So most people believe that if it's such a great idea that would have already been done before, you need to watch the 4 videos to explain. Like Peter Thiel says, what do you believe that other people think is crazy, but you're right and they're wrong? And basically, if you watch these 4 videos, you'll explain that, because it would take me half an hour to explain it. So let me go and talk about investors a little bit. Most investors are sheep. Most people in life, they don't have original thinking. They don't, they want to know what the metrics are. The metrics are important because you have to show, like I said, product market fit. You have to show traction. But there's 2 different sayings that I have on my LinkedIn. One is that it's the famous saying by Peter Thiel, which says that the dirty secret in venture capital is that, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember word for word, is that, the top 1 or 2 companies, startups in a fund returns more than the rest of the fund, and that's true. It's not the 80-20 principle, it's like the 98-2 principle. In a bank, they want to see it with your collateral, but the venture capitalists, all you need is one Google, Facebook to be early on those, and your career is set, and you can retire, or you can launch your career from there. So basically, what is the next Facebook? What is the next Google? And I explain in those 4 videos, what that takes and what that involves. What is your sustainable competitive advantage? What is your moat? What do you have that can't be replicated? What do you have that can't be reverse engineered? What do you have that can't be copied? So and the second quote that I have is by the famous Wayne Gretzky quote, skate to where the puck is going, not to where it is. What it is that, like I said, those that understand the future are, if you want to create the future, if you want to understand, if you want to, I forget how it goes, but if you want to win in the future, the best way is to create it or something like that. So, or the winners in history, I guess. So anyway, I don't remember the exact quote, but you understand the idea. So the idea, and I'm losing my train of thought a little bit, the idea is that, my company is called Exponentials because it focuses on the convergence. Like a lot of people just use things as buzzwords. A lot of people have great features that are in search of a problem. The idea is not to have this great whiz-bang technology and whiz-bang convergence. The idea is to look at the pain point, which is customer acquisition costs. And we lower customer acquisition costs by currently, we're still at relatively modest scale, but we have proof of concept. We reduce customer acquisition costs by approximately 70%. And the reason we do that is because we don't have to do loyalty programs. We don't have to do advertising. We have an extremely low-cost model, which I explain elsewhere in different podcasts and in the videos. And basically, we have customers flocking to us and loving us because you love your passions. And if you associate a company with your passions, think Harley Davidson. People rave and rave about that company. Neiman Marcus. There's certain companies that people just love. They advertise the products. They wear the T-shirts. They're proud of the company. We're the same way. People love our company, and they just word of mouth, and they just keep coming back over and over again because it's tapping into that basic human need. The thing about inherent interest is that it not only, these sound like buzzwords, and it not only becomes, helps you become your best self and live your best life, but it brings joy, it brings fulfillment, it brings excitement. Like Elon Musk says, you have to have some reason to get up in the morning. That's why he's going to Mars. If you follow your passions, then in personal discovery, so we say that, we're not just an e-commerce company, we're a company that's transforming and uplifting the human experience. And that's what we want investors to understand. Your mission has to be bigger than you. The reason that Tesla can attract the best investors and the best engineers in the world is because its mission, basically, if Tesla, I saw a video on this, if Tesla just talked about what they do practically, they would just say, we're a vertical logistics company. Trucking takes products horizontally. And SpaceX, I meant SpaceX instead of Tesla. SpaceX takes products vertically. So if Elon Musk thought like most entrepreneurs, he would just say, invest in SpaceX, come to work for SpaceX. We're a vertical logistics company. And that's true. But that's not really what he is. What he is they are an inspiring company to back up the human race. And to keep humanity going and to explore, Mars and all the excitement that goes with that. So we're not an e-commerce company. Yeah, we've revolutionized e-commerce, but we are a company that's focused on transforming and uplifting the human experience. So I'll leave it there. There's a lot more to say.